Today I am going to discuss about oxygen dissociation curve. Many books describe it as oxygen dissociation curve, but actually the true name should be what? Oxygen association and dissociation curve. Are there any curve to oxygen association? No. Oxygen association also happen in the same curve. Oxygen dissociation also happen in the same curve. But when you come into lung, your inspiration, then alveolar filling show different type of curve. Alveolar expiration or alveolar emptying show different type of curve. It shows some kind of hysteresis. Also called difference between the inspiration and expiration. Curve is difference. Because of that, you can call one curve as inspiratory curve, one curve as expiratory curve. But when you come into the hemoglobin, the bounding and release happening in the same curve. Because of that, oxygen association and dissociation both happen in the same curve. What we draw is usually oxygen association curve. What we call usually is oxygen dissociation curve. Some kind of misnomer is there. Your hemoglobin is happily situated in your vascular system. Hemoglobin is much more happier when it bound with oxygen. Once it unbound with oxygen, once it totally unbound with oxygen, it behaves in the very suspicious manner. It look at oxygen in the very suspicious ways. They think oxygen going to harm to them, which is very similar to when COVID is present in China. When the COVID is present in the China, we behave in a very suspicious manner. Once COVID present in our country or your country, that suspiciousness is not there. You are very happy. You happily welcome Corona. Likewise, the hemoglobin also very suspicious when it is not bound with oxygen. Very angry hemoglobin is there. This is your hemoglobin. Hemoglobin molecule contain one heme molecule and globin molecule. Which kind of protein? Hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is some kind of quaternary protein. You have primary protein, secondary protein, tertiary protein and quaternary protein. Quaternary protein means more than one amino acid chain. When united together, we are going to call it as quaternary structure. Hemoglobin is belong to quaternary structure. It containing heme molecule and globin molecule. Once it totally unbound with oxygen, there are no oxygen in hemoglobin molecule. The hemoglobin molecule behave in the very suspicious and angry manner. Once one globin molecule or one heme part occupied with oxygen, this oxygen molecule will come and try to bond with this part. Once this oxygen molecule bound with this part, this hemoglobin molecule is very happy. This part of the hemoglobin molecule is very happy. Once it bound with oxygen, then he said, "Don't worry, this is an innocent guy. Be happy, ready to accept the oxygen." Ready to accept the oxygen. Because of that, these two are very happy right now. Very happy and willing to bind with oxygen. Now oxygen rapidly come and bind with this one as well. First one is very difficult, but second two is very easy. Because this one is going to tell, don't worry, oxygen is one of the innocent guy. Allow them to bind with you. You can happily live with them. But the fourth one binding is very difficult. I will tell why. Now this one also happy to accept the oxygen. This one also happy, but your oxygen come here from here. Try to bind into this molecule. Says this side houseful. Then he go into this side. This one also said we are houseful. Then come from this side. Oxygen molecule come from this side. Hemoglobin molecule says we are houseful. Then hemoglobin molecule come from this side. We can bound you. This part can bound you. Because now hemoglobin molecule nearly totally occupied. Because of that, oxygen molecule very difficult to bound the unbound part of the hemoglobin molecule. Because of that, fourth one binding is little bit difficult. Fourth one binding difficult. First one binding already difficult because of the suspicious behavior of hemoglobin. Fourth one binding also difficult because household. So I am going to draw a curve for that binding. For this axis, I am going to mention as the, for this axis, I am going to mention partial pressure of oxygen. When we are increasing the partial pressure of the oxygen, the binding will be easier because oxygen molecule available more and more in that condition. From this, for this axis, I am going to measure as the amount of binding or percentage of binding or saturation. It's PO2 or percentage of binding. Once whole molecule bound with oxygen, we are going to call it as 100% saturated. Once only 3 part is bound, 75% saturated. If only 2 part bound, 50% saturated. If only 1 part bound, 25% of saturated. When taking the whole amount of blood, you can even tell 10% saturated. Because some of them are only 1 bound, some of them are totally unbound. Because of that, when combined together, you can tell 10% saturation. Likewise, from 100 to 0, your patient can have different kind of saturations dependent on the hemoglobin bounding. Some hemoglobin totally bound, some hemoglobin not bound totally. Because of that, your patient can have 50% saturation. I am going to draw oxygen hemoglobin association curve for this hemoglobin molecule. Oxygen hemoglobin association curve for this molecule. First one binding is very, very difficult. Not only this molecule, when we are taking the whole blood, first one binding is very, very difficult. So you have to have some kind of partial pressure to first one bind. You increase in the partial pressure gradually. Once it comes to this level, first one bind. After that, second, third binding is very, very easier. Why? This one already told oxygen is innocent guy, don't worry. Because of that, they happily accept the oxygen. So second, third molecule binding is very, very easy. After that, last part binding is very, very difficult. Why? They have to found unbound molecule. They have to found unbound molecule. All the hemoglobin going to take, still I am houseful, like that. Because of that, the last part, for the last part binding, you have to increase the partial pressure a little bit more for last oxygen binding. Here one bound, here one bound, here two bound. Here I am consider only one molecule. If I take whole blood sample into this beaker, whole blood sample into this tube, and I am going to increase the partial pressure of oxygen from 0 to like this, partial pressure oxygen, the binding and the curve will be like that. Not only one hemoglobin, the whole blood also behave in the same manner, because whole blood is belong to collection of hemoglobin. Whole blood is belong to collection of hemoglobin. Whole blood oxygen association curve will be like this. Here I draw oxygen association curve. Initially no oxygen. Here totally occupied, that means 100% saturated. Then I going to carefully go through the value here and here present. Then I go through the value here and here present. 50% saturation happening. 50% saturation happen at the partial pressure of 27 millimeter mercury. 50% saturation happen in the partial pressure of 27 millimeter mercury. 75% of saturation happen at partial pressure of 40 millimeter mercury. Right now, your arterial blood show 100% saturation. Venous blood show 75% of saturation. Arterial blood 100% saturation is there. Venous blood 75% saturation. 90% of saturated happen at the partial pressure of 60 millimeter mercury. When coming to 80 millimeter mercury, nearly about 95 to 99% saturated. Nearly about 99% saturated. Now I am going to put that value into my curve. Now I am going to put that value into my curve. We'll see how they appear. 50% saturated at partial pressure of 27 millimeter mercury. 50% saturated. 75% saturated at partial pressure of 40. Here must be 75. Saturated at partial pressure of 40. 100% saturated happen at partial pressure of 80. Here 90% saturated at partial pressure of 90% saturated at partial pressure of 60. Here must be 60. If you look at this curve carefully, from here to here 27, from here to here another 23, from here to here another 40 is there. Look like severely disproportionate curve. This curve is severely disproportionate, like Klinefelter. Height of the lower part, height of the upper part, totally different. When your arm is spanned, your totally high is there. This is not the Klinefelter. Some kind of, this is called Marfan syndrome. So there is a capability disproportionate in this curve. Because of that, now I am going to draw a curve with a proportionate. Now I am going to draw a proportionate curve for oxygen association and dissociation. I am going to start with the value first, then I am going to connect those values. Here partial pressure, here the saturation, partial pressure here 20, 40, 60, 80, 20, 40, 60, 80, I will put 10 by 10 here, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, here 100. Here also you can see the 100 from somewhere here, 100 millimeter mercury. For this axis, I am going to draw, I am going to do 100% saturated here, 100% saturated. Here it must be 50% saturated. Here must be 75% saturated. I draw it somewhere here 10% saturated. 10% saturated. Here 90% saturated. Now I am going to put the mark here. 50% saturated at partial pressure of 27. 27 must be somewhere here. At that value, your 50% should be saturated. 50% should be saturated somewhere here. Now, number 2, 75% saturated at partial pressure of 40. That means 75% of saturated should happen at the partial pressure of 40, somewhere here. 75% of saturation should happen at the partial pressure of 30. 90% of saturation should happen in the partial pressure of 60. When coming to the 60, %90 of saturation should happen when coming to 60. When come into 100, nearly 80 to 100% partial pressure should be there. I am going to erase this curve. Why? This curve is show some kind of capillary disproportionation. When come into 80, it nearly shows 99% of saturation. Here, it must be here. When come into 80 millimeter mercury, it shows 99% of saturation. Now I am going to connect those points. Now I am going to connect those points. Roughly 10% saturation shows at the level of 10%, 10 millimeter mercury partial pressure. Roughly 10% saturation happening at the partial pressure of 10 millimeter mercury. Now I am going to connect this point. Start from here, connect to here, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here. This is your oxygen association dissociation curve. When the viva, if examiners ask from you to draw the oxygen association and dissociation curve, they are usually asked oxygen dissociation curve. You should first of all draw this axis and mark it, and draw this axis and mark it, then connect it. Otherwise, when you are putting the value, it will show some kind of disproportionation. Now I am going to tell you what are the factors will going to shift this curve into right and left. What are the factors will going to shift this curve into right and left? Your hemoglobin molecule is here. When I increase the temperature of the hemoglobin molecule, when we increase the temperature of the solution, the dissolvent of the gas will be low. Here your blood sample is there. When I increase the temperature of the blood sample, the dissolved gas is going to be evaporated. The same thing happens with your hemoglobin. When I increase in the temperature, the oxygen easily unbound. Oxygen easily unbound from here to hemoglobin. When I increase in the pH, when I increase in the hydrogen ion concentration, when I increase in the hydrogen ion concentration, what happens is, again, hydrogen ion ask from hemoglobin molecule, please remove this nasty oxygen molecule, please bind me. Please remove those nasty oxygen molecule, please bind me. Hemoglobin is some kind of buffer. Hemoglobin is one of the major buffer present in your blood. Histidine residues of the amino acid sequence of the hemoglobin molecule can accept the hemoglobin. Once they accept hemoglobin, they can donate hemoglobin as well. So because of that histidine molecule or histidine amino acid can act as a buffer. There are large amount of histidine molecule present in your hemoglobin right now. So your hemoglobin hydrogen ion go and bind to your histidine molecule. Once that hydrogen ion bound, oxygen think no more I should be there, I should be going to outside. The hemoglobin is trying to go into outside. This is what happened at your tissue level. Tissue level hydrogen ion concentration is too much acidotic. Because of that, hydrogen come and bind to your hemoglobin molecule. Hemoglobin molecule remove their oxygen because they accepting hydrogen now. So your oxygen dissociation curve, with the increasing of the temperature, what happens is hemoglobin going to be released. With the increasing of the hydrogen ion, hemoglobin going to be released. With the increasing of the carbon dioxide also, same thing happen. When carbon dioxide increase, carbon dioxide going to react with your water, going to produce carbonic acid. It dissociate into bicarbonate and hydrogen ion. Again hydrogen ion increase, your oxygen going to be released. Then, if you have higher amount of 2,3-DPG, from where you are going to produce 2,3-DPG? Anyone? 2,3-DPG going to produce from glycolysis. Very good. 2,3-DPG or 2,3-diphosphoglycerol going to produce from your glycolysis. So your glycolysis produce 2,3-DPG. Those 2,3-DPG can go and bind to your beta chain of hemoglobin molecule. Hemoglobin molecule containing 2 alpha chain and 2 beta chain. Those 2,3-DPG go and bind to your beta chain and reduces the affinity for oxygens. Reduces the affinity for oxygen. Your oxygen can easily unbound from your hemoglobin. When you have higher amount of 2,3-DPG, it reduces the affinity of the beta subunit further. Because of that, you can easily remove your oxygen from hemoglobin molecule. In neonate and intrauterine life, you do not have beta subunit in your hemoglobin. Because of that, 2,3-DPG can't bind. Your hemoglobin oxygen removal is not happening. Your fetal hemoglobin can tightly bound oxygen because it is lack of 2,3-DPG. So high temperature, high hydrogen ion concentration, high carbon dioxide and high amount of 2,3-DPG all in high state, what happens is your oxygen bonding will be difficult. Oxygen binding will be difficult. That means your oxygen dissociation association curve will be shifted into this side, right side. Oxygen association dissociation curve will be into this place into right side. If I give an exact point to identify the dissociation shifting, here this value is going to call as P50. Why I am going to call it as P50? P53. P53 is some kind of gene, not belong to here. So P50 means 50% saturated partial pressure. It going to be shifted into this side if your patient having high temperature or higher amount of hydrogen ion, high carbon dioxide concentration, higher amount of 2,3-dBg. If your patient having lower amount of those values, your oxygen association dissociation curve going to be shifted into left side. ODC curve going to be left side. It has some kind of clinical significance. You know, if your patient having higher amount of this factor, oxygen going to be released at the tissue level very easily. If your patient having lesser number of these factors, oxygen delivery into the tissue will be problematic. Your blood containing lot of hemoglobin, oxygen, but delivering of the oxygen to the tissue will be problematic in that case. So I am going to tell you about the very few clinical significance in the ODC curve. Even though it is few clinical significance, you have to know it in crystal clear. Number 1, 90% saturation happened at the partial pressure of 60. After that, what happened is it rapidly dropped. If you found a patient with 90% saturation, you put the saturation probe, saturation value came as 90. You have to take immediate action. Why? Now you know partial pressure should be somewhere around roughly about 60 millimeter mercury. If it drops into 50, rapidly drop the oxygen saturation. It will rapidly drop your oxygen saturation. Oxygen saturation in that case may be somewhere around 50-60. Not 50, it is somewhere around 60. Rapidly drop. So that point is we are going to call as ICU point. Why? In the ICU, at least you should have more than 90% of saturation in your patient. If your patient not having ARDS. If your patient having acute respiratory distress syndrome, 88-95 partial saturation is enough. 88 to 95% of saturation is enough. Otherwise, you have to maintain saturation more than 90%. That means partial pressure more than 60%. If your ABG shows partial pressure is 59 or 55, you have to give supplementary oxygen to your patient in order to achieve enough saturation. Number 2, if your patient having venous blood gas saturation less than 75, venous blood gas, I already told, should show partial pressure of 75. Venous blood gas should show partial pressure of 75. Right now, if I take your venous blood from internal jugular vein or superior vena cava or right ventricle, that blood should show the partial pressure of 40 millimeter mercury, saturation of 75. Right now, I should show that picture. If my saturation is further low in the venous blood, even though my arterial blood has 100% oxygen, if my venous blood shows less than 75% saturation, that means oxygen utilization happening at tissue level is much more oxygen utilized my tissue level. Arterial blood gas shows 100% saturation. That means oxygen coming from upside is doesn't okay. But tissue use more oxygens, or the delivery of oxygen to tissue level is less. Even though saturation is 100%, the total amount of oxygen delivered into the tissue level is less. That means you may have low cardiac output or you may have low hemoglobin concentration in your blood. If you put your arterial blood pressure measurement or if you are using cardiac output measurement, if you found have enough cardiac output is there, that means your hemoglobin amount is less. You have to give hemoglobin to your patients. That means you have to give blood to your patient. If venous saturation is low, here the value is 75. If it is less than 65 millimeter mercury, You have to give blood to your patient. You have to give blood to your patient, otherwise normal patient. That means lung should be normal, oxygen supply from outside should be normal, and that should be enough to achieve 100% saturation in arterial blood. You should have adequate cardiac output to deliver the oxygen in the tissues. Only the factor deficient here is does not have enough amount of hemoglobin in your blood. In case of surgery, your patient can have larger amount of blood loss. You transfuse enough fluid to maintain the blood pressure. You started enough iron drop to maintain the blood pressure. Now you deliver enough amount of cardiac output into tissues, but you do not deliver enough amount of oxygen into tissue. Why? Hemoglobin is less. In that case, you have to give blood to your patient. Thank you very much. This is all regarding your oxygen dissociation curve. No, oxygen association and dissociation curve.